and welcome to the Liz Williver Talk Show. Today we are welcoming two very special guests, Hannah McNeil and Dr. Maddie Morgan. Please give them a warm welcome. All right, Hannah, so we understand that you had some trouble conceiving, is that correct?
Correct, yes.
And you chose in vitro fertilization, correct?
I did, yes.
Great, so what made you choose in vitro fertilization?
I was having some problems conceiving. We were having timed, unprotected sex for over a year with no positive pregnancy tests. We decided it was time to seek help.
Hannah was recommended for in vitro fertilization because she was experienced several problems conceiving. In vitro comes from a Latin word called in glass, which is essentially what this procedure entails. IVF is a process by which the egg is fertilized by the sperm outside of the body. IVF is a major treatment and is only recommended for people who have no other way of conceiving.
Oh, alright then. So what conditions would lead to a person choosing in IVF?
Well, in Hannah's situation, she has a blocked fallopian tube, which means during ovulation her eggs are still released, but there's no way for the sperm to reach them for fertilization.
Actually, quite a few of the people I met undergoing the same procedure were same-sex couples who didn't want to adopt.
It would be a perfect opportunity to have a genetically related baby for couples who lack the necessary components. As far as genetic diseases and STDs, how would a couple benefit from IVF?
A donor is always an option when going through IVF. Using a donor may be beneficial to the couple when one or more of them carries a certain disease or mutation that will inevitably be passed on to their offspring. Sex cell reproduction will pass on the parents' genes. 23 chromosomes come from each parent, making the full set of 46 chromosomes. This has high possibilities of transferring genetic diseases.
There is an obvious advantage of IVF not having any of those genetic mutations passed along. Unfortunately, with a donor, there would be no genetic relationship. Am I correct in assuming that?
Yes, that is both the advantage and disadvantage to IVF. The baby will not carry the same genetic mutations as the parent, but also will not be genetically related to the parent.
An unfortunate disadvantage. Are there any other reasons one might want to stay away from IVF?
Aside from the high costs, there are a few procedural drawbacks to IVF. Most women will experience cramps and a small amount of vaginal bleeding following the procedure.
The cramps really weren't that bad, but the cost was definitely painful. I was worried about the whole multiple babies thing. Everyone has heard of Octomom. Everything went as planned though, and we're expecting our baby girl in 3 months.
Excellent to hear. Now, I don't want to scare off our watchers from IVF. Are there any advantages other than what we talked about?
I had no idea why I couldn't conceive, and when the doctors found out, they suggested many operations that sounded pretty scary. I wasn't too keen on the idea of going under the knife, and this was a way simpler procedure. They had to remove the blockage in the fallopian tube so my eggs could travel down, which of course had its risks. A big risk was scar tissue in the fallopian tube, which could reblock the fallopian tube.
Avoiding surgery is certainly always preferable, and the cost is certainly quite high. In Nova Scotia, it can run anywhere from $7,750 to $12,250. Did you have any trouble funding your treatment?
I did, but my family helped me out quite a bit.
I heard about a local Nova Scotia couple who appealed our province's refusal to fund their IVF treatment. Unfortunately, their request was denied. Do you think the government should cover this treatment, having had it?
Possibly, depending on the situation. If the couple cannot conceive, then the government should definitely help out.
So with a doctor's referral?
Yes.
There are many couples out there who truly have no other way to conceive other than turning to IVF. I believe that as so long as they have tried every other way, IVF should definitely be subsidized by the government. There's so many technologies and resources available to us in our country that there is no reason why we shouldn't be able to help them out.
I agree wholeheartedly. In this day and age, in a bountiful country like Canada, we should be using our ample resources to help out our people any way we can. Now we're just going to have a few more words from our special guests and from myself to finish up the night.
Did you know that approximately 15% or 1 in 6 couples have problems of infertility? Luckily, 85 to 90% of these cases can be treated and perhaps solved with means of medical therapies such as IVF, IVM, artificial insemination, surrogate motherhood, or hormonal treatments. Don't be afraid to talk to your doctor. There's lots of problems out there and also lots of ways to fix them.
In my case, surgery just wasn't an option. I wasn't comfortable with the idea of it, so in vitro fertilization was the best option for me. My husband and I were able to conceive, and our baby will be genetically ours. In vitro fertilization gave us a chance to have a baby with our own genetic information without going under the knife.
In vitro fertilization is not for everyone. Its benefit is that it allows fertilization to occur by making a place where egg and sperm can meet. It can be advantageous for anyone who cannot provide a fertilization-friendly space, like Hannah, or whose gametes are non-existent or non-viable, like in a same-sex couple or someone who's with genetic mutations that they don't want passed on. It is relatively non-invasive. Tune in next time to hear about other forms of contraception. Let's give our special guests a round of applause.